Hello, it is Friday, June 16th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. Unfortunately, I made an absolutely grievous error today. I cannot believe I did this. I solved the entire crossword thinking I was recording, and when I finished, I went to press the stop recording button only to find the start recording button had never been pressed. So I recorded the entire video. It's an 18-minute solve, and I did the whole thing with no proof that I've done so. I reset my grid just now. I hope that doesn't mess with my streak in any way. I don't think it will, but anyway, I will solve the puzzle for you again, of course, knowing that I already spent 18 minutes previously figuring it out, so it shouldn't be much of a challenge. In any case, this apologetic episode of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Lewis Williams, Camtron, Henrik Koskinen, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark, the indomitable Showmaster, and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the 6 of them. They are directly supporting this channel, sustaining this series, and for that, I'm extremely appreciative, particularly appreciative when I waste part of my morning and realize I have to do it again. And so at least I know there are people who are out there appreciating these videos. In any case, let's see. If you head over to patreon.com/dailysolve, you can look into directly supporting this channel yourself. Of course, I very much appreciate that. You can find all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as, if you are a benefactor, the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. So do look out for all of that. And there's a link in the description field underneath the video, of course. In that same description field, you can find a link to the Daily Solve Discord chat server. That is a nice, friendly chat community, and you can join that for free. And do also subscribe to these videos on YouTube if you've been enjoying them. That's a big help as well. Okay, so let's just get right onto the puzzle here. I really did want to, it's such a shame that I lost my video because I thought this was such an interesting sort of origin. It's by Nathan Last and the JASA crossword class, and I wasn't sure what the JASA crossword class was, so I looked it up, and it's a sort of continuing, JASA is an adult continuing education organization at John Jay College in New York City. It stands for the Jewish, Association Serving the Aging. So the Jewish Association Serving the Aging. And they have an annual crossword class. And at the end of it, each year, they submit a puzzle to the New York Times. I don't know if every submission has been accepted or what their acceptance rate is, but in any case, I believe this is the 18th puzzle that this class has collaboratively created and had published by the New York Times. So I just thought that was a really nice thing. Nathan Last is an experienced constructor in his own right, several dozen puzzles to his name on the New York Times. And of course, this was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So that's the background of this puzzle. I thought it was just a really interesting thing. And I'm wondering if I've previously solved puzzles from this group, and I just don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I have myself solved a number of them. What I can't remember is if I did so last year on the channel, nor can I remember if I researched this, looked it up, explained it on the video, and then promptly forgot it again. I don't know. In any case, that's who made this puzzle, and let's get on with it. Of course, I already know what the answers are going to be, but we'll just go through the grid because why not? So you can buy it by the inch. Oh, am I even going to remember what this is? Yes, I am. It's ad space. Boy, that would have been ridiculous. Nick Blank, college football coach with the most national titles, 7 as of 2023. I actually already don't remember what this person's name was. I think it started with an S. Yes, São Miguel Island, one of the Azores. So there we go. All right, well, I put that in anyway. Shell stations. These are taco bars, which I found interesting because you only really hear shell used to describe the tortilla of a taco when it's a hard shell. I guess you can say soft shell taco, but that's just a taco. I mean, hard shell taco would not be found in any reputable taco bar, at least in my opinion. In any case, current connection point. When I solved originally, I thought this would probably be anode or diode, as in the connection point of the electric current, electric current for instance, on a battery or something, and then solving the SA led to anode. And actually, this one, I did originally just put in the SA because I wasn't sure if it was Spanish or Portuguese, so San or Sao. But either way, it was enough to get me the A for anode, which was helpful. Blank National Monument, landmark in New York City's West Village. This is Stonewall National Monument, of course, in memory of the Stonewall riots, pivotal moment in the gay rights movement. And then making a crossing, say you could be making a sea crossing, making an ocean crossing, so you're at sea. Out or went out with, right? So if you went out with someone, you dated them. And I think what this means with the first out is that maybe a piece of fashion or something, some clothing. It's not in, it's passé, it's out. So it's dated, it's showing its age. And to tear into, do I remember what this is? Hard to handle in a way. Oh, eely, like this has come up in the crossword, I think at least once recently as well. It's sort of like an eel, like an eely, like a fish. It's hard to get your hands on because it's wriggly and slimy. Small drinking glass. As for liquor, it's a pony. This one on my original solve, I also got entirely through crosses. Sort of vaguely rings a bell, but I can't think what it looks like. Anyway, to tear into someone is to scold them, and to throw something in is to add it. So, mythological name that means awakener of desire, Erato, who I think is one of the muses. Is that correct? Erato, I'm pretty sure Erato is one of the muses. I could be wrong. But the name is familiar. Some foreign relations. This one I didn't get until I had 3 out of 4 crosses, so we'll come back to it. Open with a penknife is to open with a penknife, say, is to slit. So I think this means, say, opening a sealed envelope with a penknife. And the reason that it says say here is because this is just an example of this sort of thing. It's not a strict synonym for open with a penknife, but it's one example of opening something with a penknife. You wouldn't say this about opening, say, a tin of fish with a penknife. You wouldn't slit that open. Name symbolizing restoration is Lazarus from the biblical story, Lazarus who comes back to life. And so then that gave me tias, for some foreign relations are aunts in Spanish. Pasta or pudding ingredient. I needed more for this one. Let's see. What about what was going up in this corner? Oh, this was the Nick Blank college football coach. I kept coming back to this clue again and again and again, despite the fact that I knew I wasn't going to know it. But I couldn't override my instinct every time I was one of these crosses to think, oh, maybe I can get this one across. No, I definitely can't. Secret targets. So this looks like a kind of clandestine, patsy or something like that. But no, it's odors. Targets of Secret, the deodorant brand. So that's what's going on there. Some Boolean operators. This refers to logical operations that you could perform on, binary digits or true-false variables, that kind of thing. So and or those are Boolean operators, and so plural is ands. Events for bibliophiles are book fairs. I think I got this one originally with these exact crosses. Bibliophiles meaning book lovers. Award-winning poet Adrienne Rich, who I think has come up in the New York Times crossword maybe once before to my memory, but I do know her name. And reserve of a sort. I actually don't remember what this is. It's amazing that I can forget things so quickly. It's ridiculous. A sketch is a skit, like a comedy sketch or a comedy sketch or a comedy skit. And tuition, e.g., is a fee for attending school. That's right. Reserve of a sort is a nest egg. You could have some money in reserve for retirement. And then Nick Saban. There we go. Now it's familiar from 10 minutes ago, but I don't recognize the name whatsoever. Anyway, college football coach with the most national titles. Here we have Ong Lee, the film director, so Lee of film, Ong Lee, and spending excessive time reading negative news online. This one I got originally with very few crosses as well, because it's a thing we probably all basically can relate to, is doom scrolling. Try not to do it. It doesn't really add anything to your life. Spending excessive time reading negative news online. Modern form of ostracization. Could hear a lot about this also while doom scrolling. It's cancel culture. And then, let's see. I don't really remember what exactly my path was through the grid, so I'm just going to keep going sort of however. Horus's two-horned queen of the stars. Must be Luna. And then pasta or pudding ingredient. Now this one I knew from pasta. I don't know what semolina with respect to pudding would be, but semolina flour is certainly used to make pasta. I have made pasta from semolina flour and pizza dough as well. Yeah, I didn't look anything up in between my original recording and this one, so I'm none the wiser about what sort of pudding semolina would be used to bake. Let's see. Professional organization that launched the War on Smoking would be the AMA, presumably the American Medical Association. And coastal corrosion cause is salt air, which makes sense. Salt, you'd think, would be corrosive. So, what was this? Oh, popular vodka cocktails. Yes, White Russians. There we go. That one came through nicely. Why? Do I remember what this is? I do. What for? Why is that the case? What for? Common fabric for bedspreads. This one I didn't know at all, so I'll come back to it, even though I can remember what it is now. British newspaper with the highest paid circulation as of 2023. The two names that came to mind to me when I first saw this in the grid were Daily Star and Daily Mail, but I assume the Daily Mail has a higher circulation of the two, and not only did I assume that, I was proven right by the crosses. So now I don't need to assume. Norse goddess of death with an apt-sounding name. Well, the Norse goddess Hel, her name is sort of apt-sounding for death. Any news, you might ask? And Curry and others. Tim Curry, the actor, so then others would be other Tims. Strangely enough, my first thought here was Ann Curry, the newscaster, but it didn't cross the M that I had for Daily Mail, so ruled that out immediately. One of the Hindu, well, nor did it match the potential Daily Star as well. Anyway, one of the Hindu trinity. My first thought was Shiva, and then I thought, I think Siva is an alternative spelling for that. And then I never really went back to it. It just ended up being borne out by the crosses. So we'll put those in. If you have a knack for something, say solving crosswords, you have a bit of a flair for it. And I still am not actually certain if I was correct in my assumption that Siva and Shiva are synonymous or if they're in fact different deities. But that was my assumption, and I haven't double-checked anything since then. Tapenade ingredient, olive tapenade is certainly a delicious thing. And if you let up, my first thought on this for some reason was, what was it? It was allay, as in allay your fears. Your fears will let up, but that doesn't really grammatically follow quite as tightly as you'd want. And it turns out it wasn't that anyway. It was relax. If you let up, you relax, which makes more sense. And I think I did get that from the dinosaur in Toy Story being Rex. Anyway, all of that gave me this common fabric for bedspreads, which is chenille, which was not familiar to me. I mean, it sort of looks vaguely like a fabric, I guess, but I didn't know it. So got it with the crosses. Typesetting consideration would be a font. A font is used in typesetting a book or something, or a web page. High school football night usually is Friday, which I got from the F, of course, because that's the only day of the week that would fit. But then I realized, that must be why Friday Night Lights, the book, film, and television series, is so named. Okay, because that is about high school football. A way of doing something is a process of doing it. Oh, and then this I really enjoyed. Feints from emotion is plotzes, so a bit of presumably Yiddish, appropriate to the Jewish Association serving the elderly. And then here we have the eponymous county of Ireland, which is Limerick. Limerick, of course, a county of Ireland, and eponymous because it shares its name with the sort of comic verse of the Limerick. And I was musing when I was solving this originally. Eponymous, I think, can go either direction, right? I mean, eponymous doesn't indicate intrinsically whether the eponymous thing is inspired by or is the inspiration for the thing in question. So I think you could also say the poetic form is eponymous. Is that true or not? Or does it have to go in this direction? I'm not certain, but because I think namesake can go in either direction, but I'm not 100% certain about eponymous. Anyway, family nickname is sis for sister. Drink made with syrup is slushy, which when I first put it in, I put an E here, and then I saw chicken blank and thought, well, that must be, based on the K, must be chicken Kiev. So changed my incorrect spelling of slushy to IE, as I've done there. And then bagel shop request is schmear. You could have a cream cheese schmear, for instance, at a bagel shop, and that is a nice symmetrically disposed counterpart to plots as another bit of Yiddish or Jewish terminology. And so yeah, you could have at a good Jewish deli, you could have a bagel with schmear. All right, memory units for short are megs, megabytes, and to call up something emotionally is to evoke it, to bring it to mind. They go straight to your head. This one stayed ego for a while because I was thinking ego trips, what is it? And so I'll leave it there as well. We'll come back to it. Evidence of a screech, maybe. I had skid in here, thinking of screech as maybe a car screeching to a halt. And so I was thinking of tires skidding, but for some reason I couldn't think of the rest immediately, so I'll put that in. And then spot for discards would be the bin. You discard something straight in the bin, the trash. And then not like, if someone or something is not like everything else, it's a bit odd. Bridge tactic, my first thought here was end pass, because I learned to play bridge once several years ago with some friends, have not played it since, so passing end pass just sounded like something that might happen in bridge. But then when I saw this one, stiff fiber, I ruled it out because I thought, well, stiff fiber could be sisal, which is used in some rugs, and that L makes sense because the bridge tactic could be an end play, which still isn't familiar to me, but is equally plausible to my mind as an end pass. Anyway, what's happening could be sup, as in what's up, and an extremist is an ultra, so sort of true believer, a zealot. To mount up, oh, you know what? I never saw this clue in the original puzzle. To mount up, to rile up, to hilt up. I don't think any of those is correct. Persistently annoying. I didn't see this either. Persistently annoying, but that's funny. I must have just sort of filled these with crosses and not paid attention at the end. So persistently annoying is pesky. So skid mark, anyway, at some point came in, I think with probably sisal or ultra. And then ceremony is, so you look at this and you think originally maybe it's ceremony meaning a ritual or a celebration. But in fact, it means more conceptually the kind of attendant grandeur or honor that the whole thing is being, with which the whole thing is being conducted. And so in that case, it's pomp, the sort of pomp with which this is being conducted, the ceremony with which it's being conducted. So to mount up is to pile up. Oh, right, so things piling up in a mound, I see. And then ego boosts go straight to your head, so that finishes that off, and I think that finishes the puzzle. There we go. Well, surprisingly enough, this only took me, I only solved this 3 minutes faster than my original time. But there we have it. That was the Friday crossword. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really nice, very sort of typically Friday construction in the sense that we had a nice, diverse range of answers, and also a bit of misdirection, but not the most brutal solve. It's not, didn't feel like a Saturday puzzle to me. Sometimes the Friday and Saturday can blur the line a bit. Things like long to be in Hollywood, it's just sort of nicely punny. Oh, did I never even see this in this solve? Sorry. So long to be in Hollywood refers to Nia Long, the actor, because long looks like a verb in this case. I yearn to be in Hollywood, but in fact it's, in this case, a surname. I don't remember if I saw it in this solve. I don't think I did. What else did we have that was sort of nice and punny? There are also just these general things like way. I mean, way is obviously a word that is, it's a noun. It's also an adverb, I suppose. And even within the noun, it can have quite a few synonyms. So that kind of vague cluing is very symptomatic of a Friday puzzle. And then things like this Miguel Island, that if you're lacking that slight bit of geography, in my case, it could be one of two things. I mean, just a number of different ways in which answers could need to be disambiguated. And anyway, there we have it. That was a nice Friday puzzle. I'm sorry you didn't get to see my original solve. I tried to basically communicate some of the things that I went through when I was solving it, but obviously it's not the same. I will try not to make this mistake again anytime soon. I just had a moment of panic where I thought, did I do it again? No, I didn't. The crossword is recording. In any case, well done to Nathan Last in the JASA crossword class. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed learning about the provenance of this puzzle. Hope you did as well. At this point, I really don't have time for the clues from yesterday's puzzle, and I do need to also still get on and do the Friday mini puzzle pseudo speed solve for the patrons. So I have to get onto all of that now. But I will be back tomorrow, of course, for the Saturday crossword, which is the second of 2 themeless puzzles for the week. So do join me then. But until that point, please have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.